Welcome, everyone, to the Underground Sound, our episode number 30. If you missed episode 29, please go back and check that out. We had a barrel of laughs on the, on that show as usual. I'm DJ Exec. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango and a gentleman known as Smart Monkey. Together, we are putting the us back into music.
So please do like
Yeah.
Yeah, do that, please. Yeah.
Let's just start again. Start again.
Well, my part's done.
Do you want me to just start from where I was? Yeah, okay. So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll play the music that you love to hear.
And don't forget to click on the little bell so you get all the notifications of whenever Tom uploads any new Underground Sound videos.
All right. Look at that. Didn't take us 10 minutes at the time. Carl got the bell thing right. I think I'm pretty much on my game here. So special shout out and thank you once again to our show sponsor, Nathan Brewster of Monsters Are Real. Please visit Nathan at monstersarerealmusic.com and obviously head on to the Underground Sound, undergroundsound.com. Check out our website as well. Find our Spotify playlists. Hit the video description below so you can find the links to all these fantastic musicians that we're going to review today. And we got a special birthday today. Well, not that it's special to us, but it is a celebrity birthday today. Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins celebrating his birthday, and I think it said that he was born in 1976. I'll just have to take a quick look again, just to make sure.
So, for the audience, what day is this? Is this like today, the day of recording?
Yes, it is today. So back in 1967, actually, I thought it said 76, but it's 1967 on March 17th. Billy Corgan was born. Billy Corgan, obviously the frontman of the Smashing Pumpkins. So to everyone, everyone's kind of saying this a week later, but today is not only St. Patrick's Day, but it is also Billy Corgan's birthday. So cheers to Billy Corgan and happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Please, once again, you're seeing this a week later. I hope that you all stayed safe and had a really pleasant holiday, or a holiday weekend for that matter. So,
Sure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I was doing the Uber thing earlier, and the bars were already packed at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
We're supposed to down our drinks at that point.
Are we?
I have.
Have I been doing this wrong?
I don't know if I was supposed to, but it's all gone.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just had a refill before we started here. So, heading on with our show. So, once again, folks, please, video description below and the YouTube channel. Please find our older episodes, especially the last two. So, episode 29 and episode 28 were a ton of fun, and we've just been having a fantastic time listening to all this indie and underground music, and thank you for everybody that is a new subscriber. Thank you to the subscribers that have been here for since the beginning, basically, and thank you for your submissions. Thank you for showing love on Instagram or Facebook or whatever the case may be. We really, really, really do appreciate it, and we really, really do appreciate you. So thank you very much for that. And we'll get our show started with our first song here. I see we got Fernando Vargas. What's going on here, Carl?
Well, we've got something a little bit different for a show starter, upbeat and happy, but very different to what we've had before. This is a sort of Latin R&B soul artist. Doesn't say who the influences are, but Fernando Vargas is from Los Angeles, California, USA, and has uploaded 2 tracks to Slaps so far, and amassed 6 followers so far. It says your local LA artist. This particular song, I think it was out for around the time of Valentine's this year, Valentine's Day, and it's only had a couple of saves, me being one of them. and it's Dime que tu me amas. I can't remember what that translates at, but I'll work it out and come back to you on that one.
Okay, we'll figure that one out after we play the song. But for right now, let's check out Fernando Vargas with Dime que tu me amas. Once again, new drop in 2023. It's the love season. Let's check it out.
Dime que tú me amas, quiero sentir tu calor, te extraña mi corazón, abrázame fuerte, no te alejes más, tus labios con los míos, besándose con pasión. Solo seamos tú y yo, prometo quererte una eternidad. Es lo que pides pa' que vuelvas, dímelo y haré lo que tú quieras. Dime que tú me amas, quiero escuchar de tu voz, solo palabras de amor, quédate siempre, no te alejes más. Put your head on my shoulder, whisper in my ear, baby, words I want to hear, baby, put your head on my shoulder.
Oh, I was just going to say, as we're waiting for Rob to come back, but Rob is back. You had it undoubtedly going on your monitors there. Rob, a smart monkey, what did you think of that song?
Yeah, okay. So interesting opener this time. A little bit different than what we normally have. So I was trying to figure out the genre of this music, but I guess is it Mexican style music? I'm thinking it possibly is. So you've got that what sounds to be like an accordion, I think, going all the way through it. Some which I believe is quite a traditional instrument over in Mexico. So quite a sort of folky feel to it, but a folky pop at the same time. Fernando's voice is pretty good. And the whole track sort of has this real sort of upbeat vibe to it. Obviously losing a bit in the translation again, because unfortunately I didn't understand the lyrics. I'm going to have to learn a multitude of different languages, I think. I wasn't too sure, but I'm not sure if we said it was a love song, and I'm sure he mentions Carlos's name at about 19 seconds in.
Really?
So, I don't know, maybe it's a love song to you, Carlos. But
Was he one of your doctors, Carl?
He possibly one of my many doctor conquests.
But yeah, it had a really upbeat vibe and quite a nice sort of folky Mexican feel at the same time as being poppy. So yeah, quite a good song.
Carlos Fandango, let's hear it. What do you got to say?
What I'm going to say is, you two tell me that you love me. That's the translation. So, so basically, it's a very, very happy track. I mean, there's a it feels like a sort of buskers type of track, really, because and as for the type of music, yeah, I suppose it's sort of a bit Latin sort of rhythm type thing. It's there's a Romanian band who do what your traditional Romani gypsy sort of music called Fanfare Cicalia, and they're really good and worth hearing. They did some of the music from the Borat films, and it's yeah, that kind of sort of happy vibe. You know, it's hard not to like it and enjoy it and tap your foot to it. But it's, as I say, a sort of buskers type song. In the next town along from me, there's a young boy who plays with it. Plays with his dad, I was going to say, but he's basically plays accordion with his dad standing there. No, that sounds worse. This is getting bad. With his dad watching. No, with his dad sort of supervising. So I think his dad sort of does some of the music and stuff. But the boy, he's just brilliant. He just does all his accordion stuff with his dad, and basically, he's just excellent. And it reminded me of that kind of. Yeah, I'll keep thinking. It reminded me of that kind of thing. And I really enjoyed it, the happiness that it's exuded in the same way that the bloke who wrote the Birdie song, one of the most infuriating songs and happy songs of all time, Austrian bloke, I think it was, and he, it's got that sort of happiness because the accordion's generally quite a happy instrument, can be melancholic as well. But anyway, I like the segue into the Paul Anka's, because it's more, Paul Anka's tune as well. And put your head on my shoulder. So, but it more or less lifts from that tune and melody anyway. So, but a good start to the show because it's all happy. I like it.
Oh, for sure. I can see that you exuded a lot of happiness, Carl.
Yes. Yeah.
I liked it because it was kind of like this, kind of like it seemed like traditional kind of like folky, Hispanic music. I'm not going to try to guess ethnicity here, by any means, but it kind of really reminded me of Richie Valens, like La Bamba, Donna, kind of like it had the Spanish feel to it, but it also had like kind of like a modern twist to it. I think, right? It didn't really sound like it was like mariachi or anything like that, because it's like what you're talking about when we go to put your head on my shoulders, and that kept on going. I think that it really reminded me of that. In either case, I think a really upbeat track and nicely done, I gotta say. So definitely. Without understanding the first half of the lyrics, obviously, in a different language, as Robin mentioned, we'll probably have to learn a few different languages here, or get all the translations going, so that way we can piece together the lyrics in our head and talk about it a bit more. I'm pretty sure that it is a lovely little song for all intents and purposes. So nicely done. Thank you, Fernando, and we move on now to. Yiannizs.
I think that's Yiannizs.
Yiannizs, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. So this one's called Wildfire. It doesn't say where Yiannizs is from. Does say that the influences include Coldplay, Mazzy Star, actually it says here Kasabian, but it's Kasabian. Cigarettes After Sex, Lady Gaga, and My Morning Jacket. These all sound like euphemisms. Right, so let's have a look now. This song is called Wildfire, and it just says, just released my first ever piano ballad. Support me on Spotify if you like it.
All right, Yiannizs is what I'm going to assume that this is. Wildfire, also available obviously on Spotify. I'm pretty sure amongst other platforms, the one thing that we do see here is the Spotify link. But as always, you can hop into the video description below and find out the links to these artists here, and go show some love, go support. Right now, let's listen to Wildfire by Yiannizs. Let's check it out.
Did you take a picture and capture this moment? Because in your fiction there are strange components where I have to leave you. Should I get more clearer? Looking in the can see him shiver. Is this a real mission? Are you testing the limits? Will I have to admit you? Will I have to be honest? My reflection's on fire, burning my desire. In the end, I'm with you. It's a wildfire. All around us ashes, run away to the marshes. Is it all my fault now? Is it all my fault now? Just try and understand. Just try. Oh, is this real mission? Are you testing the limits? Will I have to admit you? Will I have to be honest? My reflection's on fire, burning my desire. In the end, I'm with you. It's a wildfire. Don't you worry about a thing. I'll remove the clouds from your screen. Don't you worry about a thing. I'll pray to God for your sins. Is this a real mission? Oh,
I was saying, who's not muting their mic? You know, your tick-tock of the clock the whole way through.
I'm muted, but my clock does tick. So
All right.
I was muted.
Carlos Fandango, take it away, sir.
Okay, so
time out. Before we go on with the review real quick, the next one is a direct submission. Have we all listened to it?
parts of it. The version I had to listen to, yes, parts of it, but not all of it.
Okay, because I have not. I'm gonna need
Okay.
to listen to it as the next song. So if you guys have, I don't know, refill or whatever, but I'll have to listen to it before.
I'll have to listen to it as well, actually. So
Okay. All right.
if that's all right, yeah, I've only heard bits of it, so I can't really comment.
I was going to ask about the direct submissions. How open are we about reviewing them?
The same way we review anything, I mean, free submissions, I send Carl for, kind of like to, hear this out and see if it's show worthy or not, right? But this guy happened to do a paid submission, so paid submission obviously we'll take and we'll review. So, but I mean, just like any other song, we're just, our honest opinions.
Yeah.
We're not sacrificing any of our morals for, just because a couple of fucking dollars came in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm hoping that
with advertising, you know what I mean? So that's the good thing about it. And like I said, if we get to a further point where the kind of like make the show sustainable, then I'm all for that. But people need to know that that it is our honest opinion about the song and everything like that. No sugarcoat or anything like that. So
that's good, because I think there is a value in if we critique it in such a way that hopefully it's constructive, but we might not say yet this is a finished article. You know, it's really good, because it strikes me that some of the direct submissions possibly aren't. They need a bit of tweaking. So yeah, that's all right. I just wanted to check.
I'm pretty sure, and you know, hey, I mean, if I need to be Simon Cowell on a few things, then I mean, I will be, because I've heard some stuff which isn't, you know, worthy, like before, you know what I mean, before we were doing this show, when we were just kind of like starting off with the radio, I was like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't put this on the radio, because like seriously, everything's all over the place and your voice is just wonky. I thank you for the submission, but it's a no-go from
Yeah.
and everything like that. So
cool.
that's all. I mean, we need to, for all intents and purposes, retain the integrity of the show. Yep. So Carlos Fandango, Yiannizs with Wildfire.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first heard this one, I thought, oh, okay, I better give that another listen. I'm not sure about this. And then I gave it another listen and thought, okay, maybe another listen. And by the third or fourth listen, I thought this actually is really a stunning piece of music, because you've got the sort of drama that's in Hosier's Take Me to Church, and that sort of darkness of that sort of style of ballad. You've got the Sam Smith-esque style of, I'm not a big Sam Smith fan actually with his music or his singing, but it's kind of like Sam Smith, but I actually prefer this guy's voice a lot more to Sam Smith. But it's almost like the modern sort of, and I'm not saying this is a dirge, but the modern James Bond themes are generally quite dirgy and boring ballads. This would be a good James Bond ballad, but a very dark one all the same. It's got, the piano's lovely. It's exquisite actually, because it's got very classical chord movements in there. So I feel like it's potentially he's a sort of partially trained or fully trained musician in terms of the piano, and a classically trained pianist. But the production is understated. It's the vocals are actually understated as well, quite underplayed. So he's never going over the top with the vocals. Not loads of affectations and things. He's just singing it, you know, from the heart. The strings are nice, gentle, subtle, and I think this is a really top-notch vocal from my standpoint. The more I hear it, the more I like it, and I think it's a really good song. Very, very good song, this one.
Smart monkey.
I have to agree with pretty much everything that Carl's just said. For me, it didn't take 2 or 3 listens though. I liked it from the very first time I heard it. Straight from those opening notes of the piano, you know, they're played well, and then his breathy vocals come in, and immediately that song grabs you. You know, that he's got an amazing voice, fantastic voice, and the kind of haunting sadness that the song conveys is really good. And then you hit those strings, and it almost emphasizes that sadness. You know, it has this sad undertone to it, which is quite beautiful at the same time. It's a beautiful ballad. So you know, the production qualities are really good, and everything's sitting in the right places, and just does the whole track justice. The piano sounding good and bright, and the vocals are sitting perfectly on the top of it. There was just one minor thing that I picked up on where the violin just sort of volume of it peaked, and you know, it is literally really minor, but you know, it's one of those sorts of things I would iron out if it was me. I'd take that little volume peak out. Couldn't hear it so much on the listening tonight, but when I was listening to it several times, I could hear this one point where it just sort of peaked, and I suspect it's because all the other levels dropped and it jumped into that space, as it were, and that just needs a bit of ironing out. And the only other thing I would have done slightly different, because it's almost got 2 endings. You've got the piano ends and almost quite abruptly, and then it does another gentle bit of piano. And I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the 2 types or the 2 parts to the piano ending. But the only thing I would have done is on that first ending is let that draw out with a little bit of echo, because the whole song is lending itself to this hauntingness, and that would have just been very much more suited to the song. But generally a very beautiful sound, production, beautiful song. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
I did as well. The first thing that I was blown away by was the voice. You know, it kind of like took me away. So I agree with both of you on certain aspects. Is I can see the "Take You to Church" theme to this, and you know, deep dark moodiness. Also, to your point, Rob, I definitely would have shortened up the ending a little bit. There's really no reason for the piano to come back, I think personally, and you could just echo it out and keep it for dramatic effect like that. But so I wasn't really thinking like Hozier or anybody like that. What I was thinking is honestly, I don't know if you guys know the artist Daniel Bedingfield. Daniel Bedingfield had I think is he from Australia, New Zealand?
Might be New Zealand. He's brother of Natasha Bedingfield, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, he had one really big hit song over here, which was I think "When You're in My Arms" or something like that. Really, really catchy song, really poppy song, and I think that this could. I think that his voice would be very much akin to Daniel Bedingfield if he made let's say a bit more poppier track, right, with the piano going and everything like that. So, love the piano, love the strings. Love the voice, love the production overall. So I think that this is a fantastic piece of music that we just listened to here. So nice job, Yiannizs. Again, I think that's what it is. Yiannizs is what we're talking about here. So Yiannizs.
What if it's just Yanni? I wonder if those two last bits are silent. I don't know. Yanni.
It could be because
Maybe
we don't have.
maybe the start silent as well.
Let's see if we could. Let's see.
Maybe the whole name's silent.
Yanni has an Instagram page and a link tree.
Yeah.
You know, you guys can stop. I'm trying to find out more about the artist here.
We're not saying anything. We're literally not saying anything.
Okay, right. But you're sitting there fucking laughing your ass off. It's not like I'm fucking blind too. You know?
Sorry, teacher.
Yeah, he's got some stuff going up on Instagram also. Pretty loyal following on Instagram, honestly, guys. Like the truth, 1,018 followers.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, still not much more information on where he's located. But
I looked up I heard a lyric that I quite liked in it, and I looked it up on Google, but there's no lyrics listed for this song yet. So I didn't catch the first part of the lyric because I liked something about going out into the marshland or something, but I wanted to know then what the preceding line was. So I'll be keen to actually, if I listen to it really carefully and really properly, the problem is I'm always swept away with the music before the lyrics normally. So and that one's just really strong on the music side of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back myself and drop that one a couple of fire. Probably save that song also because I was very much into the recording and just checking everything out. Other than kind of like doing all the extracurricular stuff that we usually do here. So moving on, we actually have a direct submission. So today we are going to forego the initial Purple Bowl of Destiny, as we do have a direct submission that was submitted last week to the show. Last week's show, we did review a DJ Nugbone, as it were. And what song was it that we listened to? I'll figure that one out later. Can't remember.
Wasn't that one a Purple Bowl?
It was choice. It was a Purple Bowl.
It was a Purple Bowl choice, yes. But yeah, so you'll figure it out if you visit episode 29.
It was called Memories. Gone Too Soon.
Gone Too Soon, yes, sir. That's right. You're absolutely right. I totally forgot about that. So slipped my mind. But then we had a direct submission, and DJ Nugbone said, "Hey, please check this out. This one is called the Trance-Colored Butterflies. Until We Meet Again," also available on Spotify and looks like Amazon Music. Again, I'm pretty sure other platforms as well. It's just a little tedious when you're on Slaps putting in all of these links to where your music is located. But let's do this. Let's check this out. This is DJ Nugbone with the Trance-Colored Butterflies. Until We Meet Again. Let's check it out. is. Alrighty, that was our direct submission from DJ Nugbone there. Carlos Fandango, you thought, sir?
Yeah, that actually passed. I mean, for quite a long song, 5 minutes 51 of electronica, that's sort of passed quite quickly. It was there's quite a lot to hear in there, you know. So, and it develops and it builds and ebbs and flows a little bit with the beat coming in and out again. It's starts off nicely with a sort of good stereo swashing around, you know, good stereo spread. Perhaps could do with a bit more work. I don't know if it was. I've put busy at times. I've written down busy at times, and maybe there's a little too much to hear at times. And I've put cohesive question marks, so maybe a little bit more of a cohesive story to tell. But I don't know. I just I thought, yeah. Oh, I've also put you know, could it be used for gaming, soundtrack, TV adverts? That's possible commercial use for it as well. So I think, but overall, I think the time passed quite quickly, and it sort of flowed quite nicely. I don't know if I'd playlist it for myself, but I think there are people out there like the, you know, kind of electronic EDM music that would like that, you know. So there's definitely an audience for it.
Definitely an audience for it, Mr. Monkey. Are you an audience?
Yes and no. So I'm a bit like Carl on this one. It's I think it's work in progress. What I do like about it is, I think, as Carl's already said, there's a structure to it, and it's got the ebb and flow, and it's taking you on a journey, and all of that is it's good. I think, again, as Carl said, there's a lot going on, and actually I think it's a little bit like a journey that I went on, where I think DJ Nugbone is taking sounds, layering them up, and creating his song from them. And arguably, you know, he's getting a good song, but the layers are all competing with each other, and there's an element of just knowing how to now produce that and refine that. So he's got the guts of the song, and he's layered it down. But the only trouble is it's all competing with each other. And where those layers are sitting on top of each other too much, then they're just competing for the same space, and you're getting this kind of distortion, and you're losing the heart and soul of the song in some ways. So it's all about basically getting into that mastering side, getting the EQs, the compressions, the pannings, just so that space that, you know, we all know is such a difficult thing to get in music, that it's not being totally flooded and overloaded. And I think that's where DJ Nugbone is. He's on this journey. He's got the song creation side of it. Now he needs to sort of invest some time on the production aspects, or give it to somebody else who you know, take it to a studio and let them help him out on the production side of it. I think, you know, he's definitely got something about his music, and it, you know, it's got that ebb and flow, and, you know, it does have that interest to it. Just needs quite a lot of refinement at the moment.
That panache, as they say, right?
Panache.
Yeah. So I'm stumped as to which one I like better. If I don't know if I liked Memories better or the song here.
Oh, sorry. Can I just say?
Yes.
Actually, so the direct submission is interesting, because I've heard the slaps version, and what I think I like about this direct submission is that DJ Nugbone has even sort of looked at his stuff himself and refined it, because the direct submission to me is a better song. And it's been mastered better. It's still got some issues, but what it shows is that he is starting to realize that certain bits, he's subtracted certain bits, and he's getting appreciation of getting that sound. So the direct submission to me is a better body of work than the one that I listened to on Slaps, which is a positive step forward. So I just sort of throw that in there, because I meant to say that, because that's the first time I'd heard the direct submission. I thought, well, that's better. It's even more polished. So yeah, he's going in the right direction. Sorry.
I'll have to look into the to the Slaps version, because obviously I do not listen to these songs until we're on the show the first time here. This is my first time hearing everything, but I got to say that I don't know which one I do like better. I think I do like this one better than Memories, though, because Memories kind of like, if I remember the song correctly, it kind of like went from, you know, kind of like one spectrum to the other, and then ended up being kind of like almost like trance, techno, dubstep, and everything kind of like all in one. Whereas this one kind of like seemed to have, you know, a pretty steady flow as, like, let's say, like a house song, but. You know, the opening kick drums, what I would have done there is I would have probably put a little bit of reverb behind them. I don't know if this was kind of like skipped or if it's left like that intentionally. So I'm just thinking what I would have done. Obviously, these are just our opinions, and by all means, you know, the music that you create, we want to listen to it the way that you create it. But so Nugbone, real name Nathaniel, if I remember correctly, has been composing music since 2014. So relatively still at 2014, new to the game. It took me a long time to figure out a lot. It took me a long time to figure out automation and everything like that, you know. And to both of your points here, especially when Carl says that, you know, the song gets busy. It is very busy. I think that we could have toned down the kind of like the high pitched sound that we had, going through the middle of the song with the with kind of like what seemed like it could have been the chorus to the song. And so everything was kind of like melding together, and it did seem like there was a lot of it there, right? So all in all, still kind of like a listenable song. If you take the DJ stance of it, and you're like mixing, at a club or whatever the case may be, then you're really only doing about, like, let's say, a minute and a half, 2 minutes per song, unless you're really kind of like creating like this mashup going and everything like that. And I think that for a minute and a half, 2 minutes to be played like in a club, this would kind of like sound fantastic. But as far as like kind of like, let's say, having an album and having this as a full song, then I do think that it needs that kind of like polish and refinement. But I do like what you had said, Rob, is that because I haven't listened to the Slaps version, so I'll have to listen to the Slaps version to get like a very concise review here. Is that if you think that this one is more polished than the Slaps version, then I think that maybe Nathaniel DJ Nugbone is working in the right direction. He's spotting places where this needs work. As far as what Carl said with the commercial viability of the song and everything like that, I do believe that this could be in a video game. This wouldn't be completely out of place in like, let's say, a racing game. Kind of like one of my favorite racing games, for example, is Wipeout. It's a very futuristic kind of like racing game, and you have weapons and all this kind of stuff, and everything's going on there, and it's a very high speed, kind of like high energy kind of game. And I think that song would have worked pretty well in that. So there's definitely a commercial viability there. But so Nathaniel DJ Nugbone, I don't know which one you prefer to go by as we address you here, but just a little pinch of work. You're hearing it from 3 different people with 3 different musical tastes and talents and everything like that. We've been in the business for quite a while, and once again, the song is not bad at all whatsoever. It did get busy. I would have definitely toned down the busyness of it. You could have dropped the automation at one point and just had the one layer going. And but I think for almost 6 minutes long, 5:51, wasn't terribly long of a song. It wasn't, it's not one of those songs that we've listened to in the past where it's horrible and it's just crap. You know what I mean? It's very listenable, but yeah, a little bit of refinement, and especially using effects and automation can go a very long way. So
I think so, and it was, as you say, it wasn't a slow listen. It actually passed by very quickly, which does suggest that it is rather engaging. So, and I think like the songs themselves, the artists, if you're anything like us, all of us, you develop all the time. It's a work in progress. So your own self as going through life is a work in progress. But with the music, it really is something that you're continuously working on. As a songwriter, as a producer, and as a musician and singer, and all those kind of things, so it's a constant development. I mean, even Frank Sinatra was saw a little interview of a clip of him, and he was saying just before he went on stage, he used to always 4 or 5 seconds of absolute panic and worry, thinking, will it be there tonight? Will those first notes come out right? So even seasoned artists are always working on themselves to improve what they do. So I think that this is if you take it in the right way, the spirit it's meant, which is constructive criticism, any criticism, it will make you stronger, it will make you better.
Yeah.
Actually, DJ Nugbone reminds me a bit of the way that I sort of evolved into my music. So I'd hear a tune and I'd want to get it down, and I would layer up these instruments and I'd get the vibe of my music going on, and I'd get a certain amount of satisfaction from that. But what I hadn't appreciated was that they were all vying for the same space in the mix. And it wasn't until that you start to then analyze that and then start bringing the levels in and the balances in and start to learn some of the compression aspects of it. And I feel like that DJ Nugbone is on that journey at the moment. He's experimenting with the sounds, and they aren't bad. There's nothing wrong with the construction of the song. Now it's a case of sitting down. You've layered your instruments. You've got your song structure. Now sit down, start pulling back on the different dials and the levers, and start tweaking the balances. Start tweaking some of the effects and the automation and the compression, and just make those instruments now shine so that you all have a little space in that mix. And I think that's where DJ Nugbone needs to be now. You know, this is not a criticism of his music. He is definitely going in the right direction. It's a learning exercise, and keep on going, because in the end you'll get a polished track. And yeah, that's what you want at the end of the day.
I think we're really all saying the same thing here, is that the track is good. It just needs that little bit of fine tweaking.
Yeah.
And the problem with constructing a track, especially if you have a story behind it, is to try to find the story, right? Because you can lay down instruments very easily, but then like actually trying to construct it to actually kind of like mean something, that's the difficult part, because that's where the real imagination comes in, and you have to kind of like find yourself a bit. And so one of my recommendations would be, honestly, DJ, would be, you know, throw in your cans, listen to some of the stuff that you like, and listen to the finer points where the music kind of like goes in and out, you know, listen to some Skrillex, listen to some, you know, Chemical Brothers, see where the music goes, and you'll be able to hear the automation if you're really like looking to pinpoint it. And maybe that's something that can help you out on your musical journey. And obviously, we wish you the best. We want to hear more from you. Once again, a very enjoyable song, but just the critique that all three of us kind of like found the same is that it is a bit busy. So we do think that probably the automation is where you should start focusing on a little bit more, and with the construction trying to get that storyline down. But we do thank you, of course, for that submission. And folks, if you would like to directly submit your music to the Underground Sound, then head out to usundergroundsound.com, find the submit music link there, and we'll get your music on the show. Thank you.
It's not me.
No, it's not.
Stay in the house again.
Yes.
Hey.
The pussy is here.
Pussy is here. Look, buddy. She's just purring very loudly at the moment. So if you pick something up that's going, it's her, not me.
I guess she had something to say about the song as well. She's like, well, I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. She's being cute.
Moving on with our show here. Oh God, I knew you were going to do this to me too. Ajoopaan?
Yeah, I think so. Ajoopaan. So Ajoopaan is, I think, this may not be our first trip to India, but I think it is. But he's from Kochi, Kerala in India. Electronic music producer. Doesn't say what the influences are. But this song is called Traveling Penguins, and it says this track was made during our trip to North Indian Himalayas with friends Seeb and Abhijit, who does guitar and vocals respectively, I believe, and hope you all like it. So it's an electronic music producer, but of course it's got a bit of the East in there and the exoticism and the instruments of the Indian folk in there, from what I remember. So I hope you'll enjoy it from a multitude of perspectives, not least of all that it's sort of electronic music.
All right. Sounds good to me. Traveling Penguins, also available on Spotify as far as I can see right here. Obviously, visit the video description below and find the links to all these fantastic artists. And please go show some love and support. They are picking out the music that you will not hear on the radio stations, and we absolutely love them for that. So right now, let's do this. Traveling Penguins, let's check it out. Yep. That one had a bit of nostalgia on my end. Smart Monkey. What'd you think, buddy?
Yes, so it's really good. It's a nice fusion of styles there, and actually it reminded me of Future Sound of London. Now Future Sound of London had a bit more of a sort of chill vibe to it, and this one's gone
explosive.
And was that?
So we have explosive.
I think what's interesting is that it's got that drum and bass style beat to it, which is what then moves it slightly more upbeat than Future Sound of London. But it's just so beautiful because it's got so many world instruments in there that honor that traditional feel of that style of music. And then you've got this drum and beat bass that somehow manages to just bring it right into the now and make this very kind of very predominant sort of upbeat piece of chill out. It's an upbeat chill out. But I mean, you've got that is it a sitar? I think it may be a sitar that they're playing there. So it's something like that. And then you've got the beautiful flutes. You've got and that it's trying to or that it stemmed from this Himalayan journey, and you get this kind of whole feel of that in there. So they've managed to capture this moment, and they've managed to produce this beautiful bit of chill out with this upbeat vibe to it at the same time. I think it's really good.
I do as well. So I caught on the Future Sound of London. I had another thought, but let's hear from Carlos Fandango first.
I think it might not be a sitar, but possible. But it could be. But it sounds like it could be a Dilruba. But there are quite a few string instruments that it could be. So, but it was nice all the same. Now, yes, this one, track 4 has traditionally been our sort of instrumental style song, but it's also becoming our unusual song slot as well. As last week we had Birds They Speak, whereas this week, of course, we've got this East-West fusion and electronica versus folk fusion. It's a like Indian folk. So lovely blend of sounds, and it's a very much a sort of a well composed and well constructed, well thought out soundscape of a song. So you're sort of it does feel like you're on a journey. The song ebbs in, ebbs away, and the ebb and flow factor I'd give this one is 7.5 to 8 easily, because the drum comes in, then you've got that drum and bass beat after the vocals. Unusual vocals have come in. But it's not only that, you've got this sort of in terms of style, I could think of the artist that it most reminded me of is Talvin Singh, from about the OK album I used to really enjoy and listen to, was 1998. Great album. It's got that this kind of sound, really, sort of drum and bass meets Indian and Bhangra type thing. But then also, when the beat first came in, you've got this sort of very electronic thing going on, almost like it was Jean-Michel Jarre from the Zuluk album, and or possibly from Revolutions, because you've got those sort of world instruments, as Rob says. There's lots of sounds in there, but it's a really interesting fusion. And the flute, of course, which always sounds nice. So I think for me, this is one I could listen to several times, and you'd always hear something interesting in it. Really good.
I agree. I catch Rob's point with Future Sound of London. That's why I had mentioned we have explosive and everything like that. It was the first time I ever heard Future Sound of London was, again, in the game that we were talking about, Wipeout. That song was in there, and then I became a fan after that. But one thing that it reminded me even more of is there's an Israeli group from back in the day that's called Infected Mushroom. And Infected Mushroom kind of like sounded like this, with this kind of like dark moodiness, kind of like bum bum bum, and they were very like kind of like TB-808 and these kind of like synth drum machines and everything like that. And you had to work them very well. So the music is very enjoyable. So if you ever want to, please check out Infected Mushroom. You will not be disappointed in their music at all, not one bit. It's very listenable, it's very dancey, it's very trancey, and so that song reminded me mostly of that. So with that being said, I'm going to say that, you know, the production quality is just top notch. I think that Justine of Wayward Waves would enjoy the song very much with the worldly feel that it has to it. But this track can be a folky song, it can be a dance song, it can be you know, a car commercial, it could be in movies. I think that the possibilities are endless, and it is very nicely produced. It is very nicely produced. When the flute comes in, whether it be the guitar or the sitar or whatever, you know, the argument here is about which instrument is being played. Everything sounds lovely. Everything sounds like it's in place. Everything kind of like sounds where it needs to be. So just yeah, nothing but, or like Rob's, four thumbs up.
Yeah, definitely 4 thumbs up. Oh, also the artwork as well. Hopefully we'll see this in the show as well. If you share at some point his profile artwork is pretty cool. I suspect he's probably doing it himself or something, because it's the artwork for the single is excellent, pretty good.
Yeah, and folks, by the way, artwork does make a huge difference. You know, when somebody is selecting a track, you know, because we are all very visual people, right? We're attracted to nice looking things. So if the artwork is good, the more chances that you have of somebody actually clicking on that and listening to your song. So but great music, once again, great music, fantastic song for the fourth song of the show. So yeah, last week we did have Dario, and that was a song that we talked about for quite a bit. Yeah, we definitely went on with that one for a while because it definitely sparked a nice conversation, and we had it going on there. So very, very nice pick for the fourth song here. And moving on to our fifth song, this is Arkine, In My Head. Carl, tell us about this one.
Indeed, yes. So Arkine, In My Head. Arkine is from Atlanta, Georgia, USA. It says here another indie artist. That's all is the description. But the influences are listed as Gorillaz, Beck, MGMT, Mike Snow, Electric Guest, Joywave, Sir Sly, AWOL Nation, and Billie Eilish, among others. So this one, I think, is turning into a bit of an electronica sort of, without being an electronica specialist, turning into a bit of an electronic show. Because I think this one was a bit of an electronic-y type track, although it's listed as alternative pop, which is probably a fair, accurate description. Some of the comments include guitar work is so crazy. I like the groove, very nice, smooth vocals, man, and could be mainstream. Oh, and our friend Maya Klaas, interesting, original, very nice. 55, she's getting it 55. So there we are. If Maya gives it 55s, I think it's probably a good track.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Maya Klaas, very active on social media, promoting her music and supporting the local musicians as well. So if you want to support the underground and indie musicians, by all means, please once again head into the video description below, find the links to these artists, and like Maya, spread 50 fires, spread some love, save their songs, share them, you know, over Facebook, over Instagram, whatever your preferred media of social media is. Then by all means, do check the artists out, because once again, you turn on the radio, you're going to be hearing the same stuff. You turn on the underground sound here, you're going to be hearing stuff that you have not heard before, and hopefully we can bring some of these artists to light. So with that said, let's check out Arkine, In My Head. Let's do this.
Rejected, and I've been shown just in my head? To you, I'm already dead. Was it something that I said? I wish we could make amends. Don't say it's just in my head. To you, I'm already dead. Was it something that I said? I wish we could make home. The friends I used to have weren't my friends at all, 'cause now they're gone. I am all alone in this place I thought was home. The friends I used to have weren't my friends at all, 'cause now they're gone. Now they're gone. True color show. True color show.
The big question becomes: do we even need to review this song? I'm just going to start with that. So, Mr. Smart Monkey.
Yeah, that's it's a nice bit of electronic. I wouldn't say electronic rock, but it's a little bit down from rock, but it just has something about it. It's interesting. It's got the synths taking the leads, and there's that kind of synth lead solo that's towards the end that I really like. It's got a really good feel to it and a really good vibe to it. And the only thing that and this is a minor criticism, but the only thing that I think it lacked was just that little bit of variety. It tends to just progress on this path that, for me, I just wanted it to do something. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just wanted it to have a little bit of variety somewhere in the track, and that electronic lead part does it, but there's just something else that was lacking to me. And it is only a minor criticism, because actually, generally, it's a really solid track and a really good song and a really good vocal. But I just wanted it to go somewhere else at some point, just I don't know, structurally in my mind, that's what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, taking that phone call out of the equation, Carlos Fandango, what say you?
Yeah, so I think with this one, right, I'll tell you about my bugbear with it at the end, but I really like this track. It's got great atmosphere about it. It sets off nicely with the guitar intro, then you go that lead synth that Rob's talking about. It's got lovely sound to it. I think Rob's right. It could probably do with perhaps a bridge or a break that has some sort of synth thing going on. It wouldn't suffer for it. You know, it'd be a slightly longer song, but it would be okay for it because you've got something of extra interest in there. So I agree on that point. Vocally, I love the reverb effects, and he sounds not unlike, I would say, Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac. So when he did his solo stuff, it's just got that sort of vocal sound there, and I love that sort of sound anyway. And he uses that sort of vocal reverb effect as well. And you might remember on the guitar, when the guitar's playing the chord slide notes and things, it's a bit like Safety Joe's Black Eyed Susan. You may recall that had a sort of like a dark sort of guitar sound acoustically, and that was quite good. The one gripe I have with this, and this goes out to all artists and people producing music, pay attention to guitar squeaks. If you're going to, right, this is particularly if you're playing a phrase that then you cut and paste and play it again and again. Especially if it's only the little phrase, you can just dip the guitar squeaks with the automation, get rid of the guitar squeaks, not entirely, but just have them there so it still sounds natural, but don't have them so prominent. Where you hear it, just dip them, and then you can cut and paste that phrase if you're going to reuse that all the way through. If it was played all the way through, then that's another thing. You'll get these random guitar squeaks in different places. Normally they'll happen with the same chord movement when you're shifting your hands in a certain way, and it'll always happen in a repetitive pattern. So usually it's easy to spot them, but you just got to go through meticulously and laboriously, go through the whole thing and listen to each guitar track. And that sounds like it's probably only one guitar track, but could have been two. But either way, you can still deal with that, especially if there's just an 8-bar phrase that you've used and then you've repeated it. You might as well just get rid of those, dip them down, then it's not so prominent in the song, because that would be my only gripe with the song. Otherwise, I would listen to that one again and again.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't even really hear it. Honestly, this is a song that I will listen to again and again and again. Honestly, just this has 21 pilots written all over it for me. Honestly, this really, the quality of it, the quality of the guitar and the singing and the overall feel of the song, really 21 pilots. If I want to get nostalgic, I'm going to say Radiohead, but it definitely has that vibe to it. So I'm very pleased with the quality and the production of the song. And it was Maya Clark's on this one. You said they had left 50 fires, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I think I'm going to leave 50 more. Honestly, I really enjoyed this. It's 21 Pilots is a great band. They do some great music, especially when they were doing their Bandito tour and everything like that. With the song "Stressed Out," that really came out kind of broke them out through the mold and everything like that. But they're an awesome band. It's just two guys really doing everything, and this sounds to me like it could be the same thing. So I really enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. The guitar squeaks didn't bother me one bit. My friend from back in the day had said that he likes the guitar squeaks because he feels like the musicians are actually putting effort into writing the song. He feels it in a completely different way. So it's very subjective when you're talking about things of that nature. But I get what you're saying, where it sounds like it's copy and pasted and all that good stuff. So
it is subjective to a degree, although I think the thing is I still leave mine in there generally, but I will dip them so that they're just more subtle. So I think leaving them in there keeps it nice and natural. But the problem is, if they're prominent and you've got an ear for it and you're listening out for it, that's all you hear. You end up focusing on that. Well, it's like when somebody says to you, don't think about elephants, then of course that's the first thing you think of. So that's that kind of thing. So I think just that little bit of attention to detail on the finer detail side of things, then it just makes the song perfect, because it isn't far from being perfect as far as I'm concerned. It's a great song. So
no, we're almost there as far as the finished product is concerned, I should say. Again, fine tuning does a lot. Automation does a lot. It really, really helps out with a lot of stuff. For me, once again, it really wasn't an issue, but both Rob and Carl had spotted it. So maybe it is.
I wasn't so. Yeah, I didn't mind so much the squeaks of the guitar. I don't mind that too much. I think it's one of those things where some people like it and some people don't, and I don't mind it necessarily. I think I take Carl's point. What I will disagree with Carl on is if someone says, don't think of elephants, I don't think of elephants, I think of gerbils. So I'm going to have to disagree on that one.
What if I say, don't think of gerbils?
That is going to
think of elephants.
Yeah. I got elephants. You win.
On that one,
listen, you peanuts.
Tom, I've cleared the way for you because it was on 79 fire. Oh, awful way. So what I've done is cleared the way for you to add 50 fire if you so choose, and it'll be a nice round number for you.
No, see, I wait.
No, I've added one. I've rounded it to 80. Oops, I might have just slipped there into 81.
Because what you guys don't realise is whilst you're doing all of this and you're having this chat, the following day I go and muck up all the fire totally. So
Yeah, that's true. Rob is active. He's very active on there. So yes, watch out for Rob.
Yeah,
Might not be me. He might have been blaming me all along.
Rob's been very active. I've seen some of his very thorough comments on some of the songs that we've reviewed here and everything like that. So Smart Monkey definitely keeping on top of the Indian underground musicians here and helping promote as much as possible. So this is what we're trying to do here, folks. We are really trying to get the underground into the mainstream here. All of us, we love original music. We are original ourselves. We are musicians ourselves. We do hope that you enjoy the show, and we do hope that you enjoy these artists. And by all means, please visit the video link. Visit the video description below. Find the links to all these individual artists and go save them on your Spotify playlist. And again, visit usundergroundsound.com. You can find our Spotify playlist. I promise that I will update them coming up soon. My move is coming up very shortly within the last month. Did you just raise your hand?
Yes, I was just going to say, should we do that bit where we're meant to do a bit of a call to action? So you'd normally say, we're at the Underground Sound trying to put the us back into music. Should we swap around this time, just this once, just to see how we do? Just
to see if we're going to get confused.
Well, if I do your bit and then, yeah, let's just see if we get confused.
No, there's no fucking going back. You mentioned it. Go ahead.
This is the Underground Sound, and please do visit our website, usundergroundsound.com. We're trying to put the us back into music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you want to hear.
And somewhere Tom will put up some little thingy dinklies that you can click on and ring my bell. Click and like and subscribe and twiddle all the things and just come love us on the Underground Sound.
Yep. That's right. Now it's time for our break. Oh, which will be seamless for you.
Welcome back to the Underground Sound. I'm Smart Monkey, and with me is Carlos Fandango and DJX Tech. Was there anything else?
And with the Underground Sound, putting the us back into music.
The Underground from... Oh. We are the Underground Sound, putting the us back into music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you love to hear.
And don't forget to press the little bell somewhere over here so that way you can get all the updates when the updates are uploaded to the upload channel.
There we go.
There we go. Yes. Yes.
My bell.
Yes. That was a good one. I think we should try that more often. Oh,
yeah, mix it up a bit.
Yeah. Oh, so we do have a message, fellas.
Ooh, exciting. Okay. So what's it say?
This was from Rod Stewart. It says, guys, hear this. We have...
That's going off script already. Oh, dear. I threw you by changing the format, didn't I?
You did. I was expecting the quote to be a little bit lower, but totally unscripted, folks. Totally unscripted. It is. Rod Stewart says, I wish I had the Underground Sound around when I was much younger. It's a great place to hear all the new independent talent from all over the world, and that's from a certain Mr. Rod Stewart.
Oh, wow. Message from Rod Stewart, the multi-million selling solo artist who's had #1 albums and hit singles all over the world. Exciting.
No, that's Rod Stewart, Stuart, not to be confused with the multi-million selling solo artist who's had #1 albums and hits all over the world. It says Rod is a funeral home director at the Happy Endings Company in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay. Yeah, not the real Rod Stewart.
Did you say Rod Stewart, though?
Yes, I did. Rod Stewart.
Happy Endings. Oh, yeah, I think I know him.
From the Happy Endings massage parlor, right?
Well, that went well, didn't it? It's pretty consistently bad, isn't it?
I love the no.
Oh, that was awful.
Awful. What are you talking about? This is bloody brilliant. Oh, yeah. So, welcome back to the second half of the underground stuff, folks. Eventually, we'll get this right. It's one of those things where something's got to give sooner or later. Oh goodness! All right, moving on.
I'll try really short sentences next time with one syllable words. We've got to get this.
I mean, we're so complicated. But, no. No.
Oh dear.
See, the problem is that Carl's too creative, right? So he's like writing this thing out like a fucking screenplay. Like we're gonna make like a 2-minute movie out of it and everything. So.
Somebody's going to want the rights to this. I know it.
I'm telling you. If sooner or later,
Tom says, no, wiping his brow.
I like the way that the opening line was wrong. This is a message from Rod Stewart. I'm thinking, no. Don't say that until the end of the sentence. Oh dear.
Oh yeah. We certainly do make a lot of jokes here at the Under. In all seriousness, don't let your kids play with matches.
No.
As we move on to song number 6 of the Underground song here, we have luckily I can pronounce this one. This is Kevn for sure. This is a song called "Rock Your Body." What can you tell us about this one, Carl?
Nothing.
The song is all about.
So this is Kevn. Now this is spelt Kevn. So Kevn, the last Kevn we had got called something rather rude on the show. So by Smart Monkey, and we've not let him forget it ever since. This one doesn't say much about who he follows or where he's from or anything like that. But I believe Kevn does electronic sort of music. Hence, this has become a bit of an electronica sort of show. This one's called "Rock Your Body." It's not a cover, it's his own song. This is one of my favorites that I've written so far. I'd love feedback. So we're about to give him some feedback. And some of the comments on the track, Guy Esto, I'm not sure what that translates as. Okay, I hear you. Keep going. Okay, nothing like encouragement. And love this boy band hit. Great tune. Think it is your voice? Question mark. So those are the kind of comments it's had so far. Let's see if we could actually make something more meaningful for Kevn and this song. I'm sure we'll enjoy it. And comment Julie. Not Julie, but Julie. None of us are called Julie. Well, not until the weekend. Over to you then. Is that the kind of introduction you wanted?
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh my god. Rock Your Body by Kevn. Let's check it out.
Don't sweat it, baby, 'cause I know what you like. Your eyes are asking me to come over. I know we just met, but I wanna hold you close. Your body fits perfectly in my arms. I wanna have you until the crack of dawn.
Let me rock your body. Let's take off in this Audi. I just wanna get you home. Make you take off all your clothes. Just rock your body. Come and show me who's poppin'. Let me rock your body. Rock your body.
Don't think too deeply, babe. I know just what you need, and that's me. TLC caressing, because I know what you like. When we touch, something ignites. You slowly give up the fight. In my face when I showed up to this place. I know what we're both wanting, just gotta front with my game. I just want your body all night long. Just say the words and we'll go.
Let me rock your body. Let's take off in this Audi. I just wanna get you home. Make you take off all your clothes. Just rock your body. Come and show me who's poppin'. Let me rock your body. Rock your body.
Don't sweat it, baby, 'cause I know just what you like. I'm gonna give it to you. Give it to you all night.
Let me rock your body. Let's take off in this Audi. I just wanna get you home. Make you take off all your clothes. Just rock your body. Come and show me who's poppin'. Let me rock your body. Rock your body.
Okay, that was Rock Your Body by Kevn and Carlos Fandango. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think actually it's got quite a good groove, and it's quite clubby, poppy, radio friendly. It's a sort of some 80s retro touches, but also probably more noughties clubby sort of sound. So, but a fusion of the two. Some nice rhythmic elements with the pop, 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 pop things going on, and the low and high octave vocals work quite nicely in parts of the song. Sort of mixes and matches different elements in the song, so I like that. It's got a bit of the Weekend feel for me about it, a bit of Justin Timberlake here and there. I think perhaps a little finesse in the production would benefit the song to make it properly commercially viable, but it's not far off. I think it just needs, I don't know, just a bit of gloss on it somehow. I don't know what that is. You'll be able to say because you'll probably hear it from a different kind of angle, but I like this song overall. I think it's quite a good song, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing I really disliked about it at all, and I just think it probably could do with a bit of professional polish, maybe an engineer or something, casting their ears and eyes over it.
I did like the song overall as well. Smart Monkey.
Yeah, very similar comments, really. I got a big Justin Timberlake vibe from this, and I think I'm not sure. I reckon he's probably doing that on purpose. That this is a bit of a homage to that era and that artist a little bit, and hence the rock your body part as well. But yeah, it's definitely has that kind of vibe going on, and like Carl said, there's this element of the bells that these little chimes that reminisce that remind you of the 80s, and yet it's more 90s noughties, late 90s noughties in its overall feel. There are a couple of little bugging things that I didn't like, and again I think it's about just getting that finesse into the mix. There was like, and I think possibly it's been done on purpose, but there's a beep that it just catches me every time. I can hear this beep in the mix, and I don't know whether it was added there on purpose or whether it's just an artifact of maybe a sample and it's there on the end, but there's this beep, and it really did bug me. And it happened at the 39 mark, and it happened again at somewhere around the 1:40 mark, and I'm like, oh, don't like that. And perhaps it's there for a reason. And then there's this little noise right at the end where it sounds as if they've either bumped the microphone or they've powered something off, but right at the very end of the track, and it just bugs me. So there's like little subtle things. Either they've been done there on purpose to add something to it which just didn't resonate with me, or they are artifacts of the recording of this. So there's a similar comment from me, is that it just needs a little bit of finesse in the mix down, and so much so that dare I say this is going to be terrible, but where he says I want to rock your body, and then he says it again. I think he says rock your body again. But on my headphones tonight, it doesn't sound like rock. It sounds like something else. So I think again it's just that mixing down on the production a little bit.
It could be a deliberate thing, though, isn't it?
It could be. It could be. I want to rock your body. I want to your body, which could be.
Now, so don't beeps and blips and blops bug the monkey. So don't bug the monkey.
Yeah, I don't know if they're there on purpose, but they just every time I hear it, there's beep, and I'm like, huh?
Maybe it was your microwave going off.
What the hell
Your
was
wife's
cooking. So definitely a weekendy kind of, and dare I say for the because somebody had left a comment, quote unquote, those old school synths, right? So it kind of brought me back to kind of like thinking about Prince a little bit. Prince, I could definitely see kind of like pushing out a song like this, right? But definitely for modern times, it definitely sounds more weekendy and everything. I didn't really hear the beeps as you were mentioning, Rob, there, but 3/4 of the way through the song, when we were kind of like getting towards the ending, once again, as we had with was it DJ Nugbone's song, it started to sound a little bit busy, right? It started to have a little bit more going on and everything like that. So to everyone's point here is that a little bit of fine tuning, and this would be a really viable kind of like radio and film friendly song for that matter. So the overall production, I got to say, is just decent. I mean, because if we're going to compare them to, on my end, to Prince and The Weeknd, as like all three of us I think have said, then that's a really good compliment right there, because obviously these are very talented and famous musicians. So I'm just gonna say good job and just keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, I liked it. It was definitely listenable and it was enjoyable. So please, folks, once again, hop into the video description below, find these artists. If you like that one, make it your own on your playlist there. And so moving forward to our song number 7, we're getting closer and closer.
Oh yes, of course, yes. Song 7. I was thinking it was the Purple. I got thrown by not doing the Purple Bowl first time around. So
yeah,
we're just about to prepare the owl. Yeah.
So
no, we have.
Don't touch him in the owl just yet.
Not just yet. No, and I'll just pick that up. So we got guillembautista. So, and this is El Matí, Surt and Raig. Right, so what do we know about Guillembautista? It's from Badalona in Spain, and influences, I'll just read a few out because there's quite a few here. Dire Straits, La Femme, John Garriga, Zahara, River Omelette, Coldplay, Tash Sultana, Amy Winehouse, and Sylvia Perez Cruz. So there's a mixture of influences there. Ben Howard as well. So some I've heard of, some I haven't, as is the way of things these days. And this one says, check my new album, Corrents, Corrents, on Spotify. Is composed, produced, mixed and mastered by him. Hope you like it, it says. And this one, yeah, Al Matí. I'll try and get a translation for you by the end of the thing.
Al Matí, surt un raig is what it looks like. Also available on Spotify. Let's check it out.
Les paraules al llevar-me al matí, només el mar amb calma, sóc sincer fins aquí. És la veritat, és la veritat. Si no fos per la feina em quedaria amb tu aquí. Només el mar amb calma, sóc sincer fins aquí. És la veritat, és la veritat. Paraules al llevar-me al matí, només el mar amb calma, sóc sincer fins aquí. És la veritat, és la veritat. Si no fos per la feina em quedaria amb tu aquí. Només el mar amb calma, sóc sincer fins aquí. És la veritat, és la veritat. Surt un raig i a la nit és lluna plena i a poc va minvant. Aquí anem sense pressa al cel la llum, tot ple de tu. Al matí surt un raig i a la nit és lluna plena i a poc va minvant. Aquí anem sense pressa al cel la llum, tot ple de tu.
Definitely a very chill and relaxing track. What'd you think? Who did we go with? Carlos Fandango.
Yeah, it was chilled, wasn't it? It's quite atmospheric sort of track. I like the so it's a kind of laid back, gentle style, sort of folk sort of style. I mean, it didn't really develop much as such. There was a slight change at the 2:15 mark. But I don't think the idea was to develop it really. I think it was just that it's a sort of, oh, the translation, by the way, I think goes, in the morning there is lightning. Whether that's an accurate translation is another thing. But basically, yes, it's sort of got that morning vibe to it. Sort of lazy Sunday morning, sort of that modern style of, not meaning it in a disparaging way, but the sloppy sort of tired vocals style. So that, yeah, where it's sort of that lazy vocal, sort of chilled vocal style that a lot of the singers have now. And I'm not sure if the second vocal worked when it came in, but you know, but it's kind of all part of that mood, I think. So it did set an interesting mood. Quite haunting backing vocals in the same style as sort of Fleet Foxes, in the way they would do their sort of haunting, long decay reverb backing vocals. But it would work, I think, in a sort of French or Spanish language film or something in the background, perhaps on a sort of quite not dramatic scene, but a sort of poignant scene. So I think the music could be used well. It has got potential use, but there'll be people who like that kind of thing. And I think I like the rhythmic side of things, the sort of taps that go the way through it with it, whatever they're tapping on, like a packing case type sound. But that worked quite well, So it's not necessarily my favourite track of the night, but I do like it because it has an atmosphere about it. So not bad. And I think there'll be some people out there that will like it in the audience.
I thought it was pretty good, and from our reactions, I think that the same thing is kind of like jarring us. So smart monkey.
Yeah. So I did get a Ben Howard vibe from this song. It's got that chilled layback feel that one of his tracks would have, and that intro could be straight from one of his songs. So I see that may well have influenced this particular track. I thought the vocals were good, and then I've got the same issue in that when that other vocal comes in, I genuinely thought I had two windows open, and I was like trying to close one of them. I was like, oh, have I inadvertently opened the same track in two windows? And then I realized no, that had actually been layered like that. So that second vocal just doesn't work. It seems very disjointed. So somehow if they're going to, if they want to keep that, they need to make that blend in a little bit more. Having said that, the haunting vocal that goes on in the background, the female vocal works well. So that, and it sort of just hovers around nicely in the distance. So that one worked, but this other spoken vocal that sort of sits over the top of the lead vocal is almost like contradicting the lead vocal, so that just doesn't work to my ears. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was a good, pleasant song. I didn't know what the lyrics translated to, but actually I did like the way that the language translates into the way that the song feels. So it had a nice feel to the song.
Yeah. I agree with both of you gents here. Like, listen, overall the song is nice. The whole thing is that when those secondary vocals came in, it almost it made it sound almost as if they were trying to be the same as as kind of like the female backing vocals that were there, but obviously that didn't work. I would really, if this were my song personally, I would definitely cut that out and just kind of like go with my voice, because it's not like Guillem here has a horrible voice, very nice voice, very pleasant in the song, and it's kind of like reminding me of a little bit of Ben Mellon when we were listening to Ben Mellon. Kind of like that, the same kind of timbre, kind of like that same kind of moodiness. Maybe could be we've been talking about fine polishing and kind of like fine tuning the songs a lot this evening. So kind of like fine tuning this could make this very viable, like let's say for a love movie soundtrack, something like like About Time, or Notting Hill, or what was a really famous one I'm trying to think of? It had like Hugh Grant was in it.
Love Actually.
Love Actually, yes, absolutely, yeah. So in kind of like a movie like that, like a rom-com, so I think that this would work very nicely, and maybe that's the point to where what the song is trying to do is be in a rom-com, because it does definitely kind of like hit that vibe for me, right? So overall, I do think nice production and nicely done, all except for that lyric, because it almost sounds demonic. Right.
Well, I actually think that could stay in there, because if it was delivered the right way. So if it was a purely spoken thing, and it's using the right frequencies and compression, you can then make that vocal pop through in the right place as a spoken word thing. So then it wouldn't clash with the vocal that's being sung. I think it's because it was so similar. It sounded like his kid brother had walked in the room and tried to spoil the song, kind of thing. So, and yet it wasn't. It was intended, I think, as a sort of, because also we had the language barrier as well. So therefore, if it was in English, we'd have heard what was being said.
Right.
So I do think if it was purely a spoken phrase, it would have worked better.
Yeah, I agree with that. That whatever he was trying to achieve there, he needs to make that vocal distinctive enough that it's not clashing with the lead vocal. He needs to somehow bring it in, and if he wants to keep it there, like we're saying, it could well be a contradiction that voice is entering into this song. We don't know, but and therefore it's very necessary, but it just needs to be mixed in better.
Agreed. Yeah. So we move on to our first Bowl of Destiny of the evening, since we did have the direct submission earlier. So let's get it going, Carl.
Let's get it going, and I better get the owl in, although it's not normally in for the first one, but this is of course the first and second and only one of the night, so it's a very special one. So we better get the owl prepared and on the old cream. Set already. You don't want to? Why? Okay. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? I mean, I went to the doctors earlier, and that's a different story. Wasn't that bad though. He didn't quite do that. Right. Okay. So sorry about that, Al. It's good for you anyway, isn't it? Irrigates the soul.
Irrigates the what?
Soul. The heart soul. Oh dear. Sorry. You're not going to do this for much longer, are you, Al? No, I know. I'm only joking. Right, so I've got the bowl, I've got the owl, and we're going to try and... Why are you still shaking your head? I'll put you down. Okay, yeah. It might be more comfortable. Oh, especially... I'll do it with a glove.
You want to watch that glove?
This is my Michael Jackson moment, yeah. So he never had a surgical glove, though, did he? Oh, right. Are you going to call it? Say when? Still laughing. When? Oh, okay. Right. Oh, yes. One. Oh, there's two there.
It's all sticking to your glove.
Yeah, sticking right. Okay. Okay. Oh, you'll like this. This is really becoming a proper electronic sort of show here.
There's artifacts on your glove.
It's synth and synthwave. Yeah. What is it?
That's a fucking
Oh yeah, I'm going to take this glove off. I think. I don't know what that is. Spare me side goodness. Okay. So ours all prepared now. That's better, isn't it? It's more natural that way. Going bare black now. Right. Oh yes. Of course, it wouldn't be the Purple Bowl of Destiny without a terrible joke.
Oh, time out.
I think Paul Tom hasn't seen the category yet.
Oh, synth and synthwave. What kind of cheese is made backwards? Edam. Made backwards. Very clever. Wasn't so much of a joke as
I spelled it differently.
One for Charles here. What does the king do when he burps? He issues a royal pardon. What sits in the fruit bowl and shouts for help? A damsel in distress. God, that's terrible. It's a plum.
I don't like the other two are dingers. Oh my god, that's terrible.
Well, plums is quite appropriate, isn't it? Well, the audience doesn't know why, but we do. Okay, one more then. What's little, round, and able to lift heavy weights? An extra strong mint. Oh dear.
Oh my god. I totally don't. All right.
There's some any of you struggle sometimes that a joke makes you really angry.
It seems to be all the jokes I tell make you angry.
I just want
it's not making me angry. It's just going from the prostate exam bit to The tenure seems to be lacking a little bit of finesse. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it might jar a little bit, just like a prostate exam. That's not exactly.
Oh my God.
That's lacking finesse, if you ask me. Well, unless they do it right, you know.
Sonic Zone is who we have here. Oh boy.
Who? Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
Oh, is that Sonic Zone?
The Sonic Zone.
Oh, I quite liked Sonic Zone. I've heard Sonic Zone before.
Yeah, didn't we have Sonic Zone for the Electronica special?
Yeah.
That was the extra track.
We may have so Sonic Zone. This one, let's see, because Sonic Zone has a speed of light, endless driving, high on life, midnight. Quite a few songs up. So I'm not going through all of them, but $72, 1,998 plays with 27 tracks. So that's https:// soniczone.carrd.co. Listed as electronic, experimental, chill out, EDM, and synthwave. The newest one, believe it or not, to be posted on the synthwave side of things is 2 days old. It's only had 3 plays, no saves, Wildfire. This one is called Endless Driving. It is available on YouTube and SoundCloud. Presenting the screen now. So as Carl had said about the last one that we had, that was a day old. This one's 2 days old. So cool off the presses, not necessarily hot off the presses, but cool off the presses. Sonic Zone with Endless Driving. Let's check it out. have the owl of
Sorry. Oh dear. I did all the dum. It was all muted.
Okay, ready? Take two. And we have the owl of
Dum. Yeah, owl approves. Definitely the owl of approval today. And basically, yeah, Owl's basically just enjoying that one, bopping along, like the beat and the synth bass and everything, and just develops, told a story, I think, and in the way that Rob likes to, develop his music. I think it just kind of tells a story. I think the closest thing I can think of with the retro sort of synth sound, kind of John Carpenter, kind of Giorgio Moroder fusion between the two, maybe in the styles. But yeah, lots of retro sounds. It develops quite well, ebbs and flows a little bit. I quite enjoyed that. Yeah, it's all right. I liked the other one, the previous one that we heard more. It was just a bit more engaging, but I think this one is good. I'm becoming a fan of Sonic Zone. Actually, it's good, really good. Actually, like that. Yeah.
Sonic Zone, Endless Driving, and I honestly only have one gripe with that song, but Smart Monkey, take it away.
Yeah, so likewise, I'm a bit of a fan of Sonic Zone. I've heard a few other tracks of his prior to even the one we listened to before, because as I was going through slaps, I've heard some and they've just caught me, and I've gone, oh yeah, they're really good. So what Sonic Sonic Zone does really well is that he emulates that 80s synth vibe that is of that era, and he does it really well. They and it has that kind of, it reminds me so much of, like, this particular track. I think what they were trying to achieve is that sense of driving down a street at night with like street lights and that kind of typical city scene you see of an 80s film. And so it's a slower pace than some of the other tracks that Sonic Zone have done, but I think it's got its place in that. That's what it's trying to achieve, this kind of casual driving down streets, and because of that, it reminds me of like Risky Business, the Tom Cruise film back in that era, and films of that era. Or Drive, a film that's trying to recreate that era, or Stranger Things, because it does feel very 80s. And Sonic Zone manages to reproduce that really well. I do find that there needs to be a tiny bit of polish in all of Sonic Zone's tracks, just to make them that little bit more radio friendly, as it were. But I am a fan of theirs, and they are managing to recreate. They've got quite a solid body of work there now, and all of it has that very 80s feel to it. So again, this one doesn't let you down on that side. It's pretty good.
No, the first visual, the first movie that I kind of thought of was the movie Drive. When I heard this, reminded me very much of Ryan Gosling. By the way, folks, we are movie buffs as well, and if you have not seen Drive, then go kick yourself in the ass right now, and please find it on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whatever your service provider is, and definitely watch that movie. And it is such a good movie that I'll even tell you, if the only way that you can get it is to buy a DVD and watch it, then buy the DVD and watch it. It is an excellent movie. The soundtrack is brilliant. And I was also thinking of the other thing where I could picture this kind of being in the Blade Runner soundtrack. So if we take it back to the 80s, so I think the Sonic Zone has a knack of bringing the 80s style forward, right? And so that's one of the things that I find most appealing about it, because the drums, the snare, the synths, they all sound kind of like era specific, right? So I can definitely see why we definitely have the owl of approval in tonight's episode as far as that song is concerned, because that was a Purple Bowl Destiny choice released 2 days ago, not getting much love, and I think that song needs to get more love than what it's getting. So folks, by all means, please visit the video description below, find these artists, find these musicians, and make their songs your own on your own personal playlist, whatever platform you're listening to, I'm pretty sure. But the direct link to where we listen to these songs is going to be there in the video description. So please find them and really show some love, because that's the song that definitely deserves to be heard by more than just 3 people reviewing it for a for a YouTube show.
Well, four people.
Well,
I would be rather offended if it was.
I didn't know what the owl was approving.
Come back.
On exactly, because you had a lot going on there before the song even started playing. This.
I think it's just after a fight. Come on, steady. Say goodnight quickly before you get right loud, Larry, and loud, rowdy.
It's not a fight. He's trying to get away, man.
It's the owl.
Cry for
the
help.
owl of ruptured bowel.
Owl of bowel, yeah. Oh dear.
The owl of Richard Bell. I love it. You shall never get the same.
Well, when I put my hand up there, it's the owl of howl. Owl. Yeah, poor thing. He's
Oh my god.
Owl of yowl.
I'll give you credit. At least you put lube on this time. So. Oh my goodness! So I recognize this name. I thought that this was going to be. I thought this was going to make it to the charts in April sometime from your emails. But I see Mick Wilson here. This was also a direct submission to the underground sound. And Carl, you were pretty smitten with Mick here. What's going on?
Well, mixed music, I would say. But I think I liked quite a few of the songs from this album, and it's got a good feel about it. The album's called Love Songs, and they've just got different sort of angles on them. A lot of them are sort of quite dark and mysterious sort of tunes, and some are just heart in the sleeve, saying how much they. One's called I Love You, one's called I Found You, and Time and Emotion. So it's covering sort of big topics. One's called Do You Love Me? One's called Deep Inside as well. So as I was with the owl just then. So but basically, it's a good album and it's worth listening to. And I think the track I chose is Hold On to My Love. Please. But no, this one's a good one. Hold On to My Love. And there was 3 or 4 songs that really there were 3 or 4 songs that kind of stood out for me, but I think this one was the one I really liked the most. And of course, you may remember Mick Wilson had the song All My Days, and that was a really haunting good song, but for some reason I don't think it's been released on main Muse stream platforms and things, which is a shame.
I do recall it. It's definitely going to be one of those things where I'll have to go back and listen to it again. So, excuse me. We've been having a barrel last year. So Mick Wilson, Hold On to My Love. Let's check it out.
my face makes me look a fool. I'll go back again like a child to school. I'll pray I'll stay with you, yes, with you, and I'll sense that trust that I found in you. Hold on to my love. Hold on to my love. When I'm looking back with my hindsight eyes, sift through regrets as the time subsides. I see my life, it's not good or bad. I'm an open book. I will reach the end. Hold on to my love. Hold on to my love.
This was yet another direct submission to the Underground Sound, and we love direct submissions. And if you'd like to submit your music directly to us to review and listen to, then by all means visit us undergroundsound.com, and you'll find the links there. Not very difficult to miss. I'll say submit music, and then. But I gotta say, wowza. Because this song kind of blew me away. So, eeny, meeny, miny, smart monkey.
Yeah, so a very simple track, vocal, piano, and the piano it's just beautifully played and beautifully recorded, to be honest, because I've said before that sometimes some pianos sound a bit thin if they're not given that little bit of loving touch in the mix, and this piano sounds rich and full, and basically the vocals and the piano are all there, and they fill the track out, and they make it a lush and beautiful song. He's got a lovely tone to his voice, and it suits the song for sure. It's got that very sort of love ballady kind of undertones to it. I did find that the vocal could possibly do the is it a polish? But I think if you were to go into a recording studio, they'd do several takes and just refine it. I felt like this was like kind of one take, playing the piano and singing the vocals, and so maybe one or two of the notes were a little off, but I don't get me wrong, that's not a big criticism, because if this was a live performance, that wouldn't be untoward anyway of any artist. So and any recording studio would just do another take and iron out those flaws until they get the perfect mix. So this is not a criticism in that way at all. I think it's a really good song. There was one little clipping, well, not a clipping artifact, but I'm not quite sure what it was, a little glitch in the mix at around the 2:11 mark, which I would iron out as well if I had a choice. It's there. I just hear it every single time I hear it. It's just a tiny little imperfection. Take it out, and that would make it even better. But yeah, a really nice song. This has a really good vibe to it, really good sound, very rich. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Very, very good song indeed, Carlos Fandango.
This is actually the album. So Mick Wilson's album is called Love Songs. This is actually the album closer. So it's whilst it's not sort of a big orchestrated, epic finale, it does have an epic quality about it. A sort of Lennon-esque style in the piano playing and the chords. Particularly the chord change going into the chorus of Hold On To My Love is really exquisite. It's beautiful. But it's really so paired to the bone because it's just the voice, the piano, and that's it. And the lyrics, of course, which is the all-important thing on this song. But I think with the voice, it's as I've mentioned before when we reviewed Mick Wilson's All My Days, I think it was, very much like a David Sylvian of Japan style of voice in the lower notes, and he's got lovely timbre and resonance to his voice, particularly on those deep notes. And when he goes higher, he's got sort of different kind of style entirely, but it's a unique sound because nobody seems to sing like this these days or have that sort of voice. So I really like that because it's unique. But it's also sung from the heart. As Rob says, it's the kind of guy I think he's probably where he just play it and sing it. So he could probably do a BBC Live Lounge, him and a piano, sing the song, and it's straight from the heart, and probably doesn't do more than one take or something, in the studio. I can't imagine he's a very much of a cut and paste the vocals type person. Probably just does one take all the way through. When he gets the right take, that's the one. So, and therefore, you have the flaws and the imperfections in there, but that also then means that you get those, well, in the old songs, they used to have flaws and imperfections that were just, lend themselves to the song and make them real and from the heart. So, the one thing I don't know how I'd end that song because it has a very quick fade at the end, and I don't know if it just needs to fade on the piano a bit slower. Something felt a little amiss there because it felt rushed at the end. So that's the only thing I'd probably change is something different at the end.
Yeah, actually, on that, I thought very similar, that it just needed a few more bars of the piano just fading away into the outro, and that would just be beautiful, perfect. Just a few more just to fade it out.
Well, so to Rob's point here, is you just wanted more of the song, right? So, listen, the vocals are very reminiscent of Syd Barrett. I think, especially at the beginning, kind of like a very Pink Floyd-ish kind of style to it. If we get into it a little bit deeper, the piano kind of like sounds like John Lennon with Imagine, and there's a lot of stuff that is going on that I think makes the song very, very ear friendly, very, very listenable, because it does have this. Not only is there a story behind it, but it does have these, like let's say Beatles and John Lennon and Pink Floyd and all these influences in it, which all three of us kind of like grew up on. So when we're listening to this song, I think that we feel it a different kind of way than maybe today's youth would. But I think for any of our viewers and listeners that are right around our age, 45, 55, that it will resonate with them because this is the kind of music that you kind of that you probably grew up on. So no, I have no really kind of like sharp criticism or anything like that about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was listening to it outside, obviously with my AirPods on, because it's a YouTube video and YouTube kind of like has a problem with us playing audio for whatever reason. So we listened to it individually, and so we all got to hear the kind of mastered version. And I think that the mastered version is very pleasant, very nice song, and definitely something that's playlistable. Listen to it over and over and over again. It definitely has the story behind it to make it this deep kind of like loving song, I think. And yeah, where do we go? Just a nice song and just keep up the good work, Mick, honestly.
keep those songs coming. Yeah, because they're good. And you know, the album's got sort of darkness and light in there, and some of it's got a bit of instrumentation, some of it's sparse. But it's interesting how the two most epic tracks of the night, as if you can call them epic, have been the ones with just a vocal and piano. It's really interesting. The more pared back a song can be, often the more impact it has.
Yeah, sometimes that's really all it takes. Is, you know, if you have good storytelling, even if you can't understand, like, let's say, the lyrics, right? If it has good storytelling and it just has a really nice track behind it, then I think that that you know, things will work out very well. It's often the most simplistic of music that really makes it. You know, we could bunch together, you know, 30, 40, 50 loops and create a song very simply. But you know, if you just take 4, 5 instruments and a solid idea, then the song will come to life more than anything else. It will definitely make you feel a certain way, and whether it be nostalgia, whether it be something new, whatever the case may be, it will definitely make you feel a certain way. And that's what music is all about. It's all about feeling, artistic expression, as it were. So by all means, once again, folks, undergroundsound.com. The Underground Sound show itself is here to bring you new underground and indie musicians. So please do visit the video description below. Once again, find these artists and make them your own on your playlist, or even better, just keep on replaying our show, and that'll just keep bringing the new music as it is right there. So we've had, I'm going to say, a really, really good, solid 4 tracks this evening. So I'm kind of like going over my list here and trying to figure out which one's going to be number 1, number 2, number 3. But it's very difficult to do because everyone contributes in their own respective ways. So honorable mention to anybody who doesn't make the 1, 2, and 3 spots or anything like that. No offense is given, obviously, because we do love your music. Carlos Fandango is the producer of the show. He does scour the slaps and the direct submissions, for that matter, and look to place these songs into the show and for us to sit there, listen, and review them. So giving Matt props to, you know what props means this time, right?
Yes, indeed, yes.
Proper adulation, and yes, we bow our heads to you, Mr. Fernando, for putting this show together here. And I hope that you all like the way that the show is going and the way that we do it. I listen to the show. I listen to the songs the first time on the show, I should say. Carl and Smart Monkey, because of the time difference that we have, they listen to them a little bit earlier. If we were on the same video, we'd be listening to them at the same time. But once again, if you want to link up with any of us, visit the video description below. The links for Smart Monkey and the links for Carlos Fandango will be there as well. And for myself, DJ X-Tech too. And now, very sad, very, very, very sad, but we are on to the 10th song of the evening, and the 10th song is our show closer. Carlos Fandango, tell us about our show closer.
Well, on this show, we're off to sunny Spain. Here viva rest. I thought he was going to join in then. So basically, we're off to sunny Spain for the Defy rock band. So it's DEFI, so like a lo-fi, hi-fi, but it's Defy, and it's sort of play on words with Defy rock band. They're a punk rock band, so a bit of a rip-roaring close to the show. Doesn't say who the influences are. It says punk rock band from Barcelona in Spain, Kundalini Army. A couple of the comments, banging, could have gone up but went down, which I love. One says cymbal, nice and crunchy with almost an anthemic quality. So there you go, there's that. And one person says love it. One person says energetic, punky, rocky, some retro vibes. Oh, and it goes on and on. That's me. I go on and on. So over to you for pressing the play button on this last Sadly, our last track of the night.
Sadly, our last track of the night. Yes, it is you that is very, very wordy on everything. And Love It is not just by anybody. It is by our friends, the Lethargics, Daryl Mendenhall and the boys out there in Tennessee, saying that they love this track. So, without further ado, here we go with the DeFi rock band, Kun Bellini Army, available on Spotify. I'm sure elsewhere as well. Let's check it out.
Feel fine. The ground, directly to your heart. Before it was a long time, your stomach even down. But now I'm screaming here, it makes you overcome. Remember Barcelona in 2005. Coming from Mallorca with immigration white. Sleeping in the metro, no ticket to go back. I faced so many demons, but somehow I survived. Body, money, one and dolly. Jeepers, creepers, all I wanted. Walking like a zombie in a while. Many losers end up broken down. I've been in many places, I like to have some fun. Free energy that gives us Almighty with His Son. I lived 100,000 of other dirty lives. I never ever understand why I ever arrived. This body led another crazy night. My friends and I are jumping in Jumper Races Club. This morning holding water behind Bazario. We made it out of lovers, some hungry as a young. Losing our time and flipping. You were sticking like a cherry pie. Oh, you had like in my 25s.
And for our show closes, that was the DeFi rock band with Kundalini Army, punk rock from BCN. Carlos Fandango, you take it away.
I was just pretending. Yeah.
So was I.
I'm trying to think of what there were elements of in there, but I'm thinking, in a weird way, it's sort of a bit Beastie Boys with that sort of brashness of party sort of thing going on in that way, So on that side of things, but there's obviously more rock. But I'm trying to think of the sort of bands that it reminds me of. But all I could think of, oddly enough, and I really, don't mean this again in a disparaging way, but it's if you'd imagined Animal from the Muppets, if he left the Electric Mayhem band and went solo, this is the sort of song it'd make, whatever. It's got that kind of gruff voice to it. I love that vocal sound. It's really good. So it's yeah. But it's I like the little synth noise tweet goes in every now and then. It's catchy, it's upbeat. From the top of the song, it is sort of quite a catchy earworm, ba 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 da 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 da, and it stays in your head. So I really like this one because it's full of energy. It's rocking, it's raucous, it's upbeat, and yeah, it's just a pretty sort of grimy, grungy sort of just up and atom sort of song, and would be pretty good one live. I can imagine. The whole crowd could join in with that chorus anyway. So yeah, I like it. Good. It's a good end to the show.
Smart monkey.
Yeah, very similar to what Carl said, to be honest. It has this really good punky vibe to it. It grabs you, and as Carl said, if this was live, you'd be leaping around, joining in. I bet they've got a bit of a following, to be honest, as a live band. The vocals are a little bit, I don't know if they're muffled or quite what it is, but yeah, the clarity isn't quite there, whether it's the way it's being sung or whatever. And that rawness, see, it's difficult because punk likes to have that rawness to it. You overproduce punk and it perhaps loses its soul, as it were. But I think for me, sometimes what I like is that clarity in the vocals, a bit like Johnny Rotten used to do. You almost over-pronounced his words. That said, there is a style of punk out there that is very much more sort of aggressive and more sort of, I want to say slurry in its delivery. And I can't quite think of the band that used to do it, but it was a band, and I can't remember them, but they were very similar in their approach. But generally, it's got a really good vibe to it, and yeah, just going and seeing them live. But I do get also Carl's point, because when I first heard this, I wanted to just imagine that if they were going to do a video, they would do it with like Muppet puppets singing along to it in this like really cool, funny like video, because it has, I don't know if it's meant to, but it does have that little bit of quirky fun element to it, which actually is quite a good thing. And maybe it's supposed to be a little bit on the light-hearted side, but as a punk song goes, it's good.
I feel like it's a bit tongue-in-cheek in the same way that Dead Sex Puppets would do their sort of music tongue-in-cheek, knowing that it's just a bit of fun and we're having a good laugh and a good time, and it feels like that. But I think if you listen to the song next time, picture Animal and the Electric Mayhem Band or something,
exactly,
and singing while he's playing.
Well, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. I don't know if you've ever if you ever see this CD out, but there's a CD out where they did Saturday morning TV show theme tunes, and they had bands redo it, and I think it's called something like Saturday Morning Show, and they had these other bands redo it, and it is brilliant. And this band would be able to do one of those covers really well. So you could imagine, like, I don't know, Scooby-Doo or something like that. They would have these like more like rock bands or punk bands singing these children themes tune, and they're brilliant. And these guys would nail one of those, absolutely nail it.
Okay. Do you guys know the Manamana chorus?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3. Manamana. 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 Yeah, close.
I was actually in the right key there, was I?
Maybe, possibly. Yeah. Okay, so if I think about like kind of like mainstream kind of like punk metal bands, the only two that I'm going to come to a conclusion to with this one here is going to be the Ramones and Transplants. If you remember, the Transplants had a song that was Diamonds and Guns. This very much sounded like Diamonds and Guns, and it kind of has a bit of a punk hip hop flavor to it and everything like that. So I think it works that way. So there's not too much critique to give on this kind of song because once again, I think we were all definitely on the same page where, Animal from the Muppets is like the the front man of this band here and everything like that. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Animal is a brilliant musician. So
I love Animal.
yeah, having this entire thing going where it's quirky, it's fun, it's a good vibe. You can definitely you're going to be going wild if you hear this live. Whether you're in a pub, they're playing live, and you just get into that kind of rhythm of everything here. So not so much critique. I think a pretty damn good show closer, Carl. Honestly, to tell you the truth. Definitely fun, vibey. It gave us enough to talk about and everything like that. So yeah, I'm digging it.
The question is, how do we choose a top 3 from those? Because there were some strong songs there, and I'm really troubling myself over this whole thing because I know what my number 1 is, but I don't know what the 2 and 3 are because I've got 4 other contenders for those 2 spots.
Yeah, it's a rough one. It's a rough one today for sure.
I mean that last one actually, I really enjoyed that one. So I think, yep, I would probably play that a fair bit and I will acquire that one on iTunes. So yeah, for me, I would say I liked Ajoopaan's. It's a song really unusual. Arkine, love that one. Guitar squeaks aside, I really do like that song because it's just a good song. I love Mick Wilson's "Hold On to My Love." Okay, sorry. It's because Rob was saying something entirely different.
Hold on to my hand.
Hold on to my hand. Yeah, that's it. And there was one more. Oh, and I quite like the Kevn one as well. Although, this is really. Oh, so Kundalini Army. Well, anyway, I can tell you my number 1 for certain was Yiannizs because I think that one, Wildfire, stood out. And the more I hear it, the more I like it. And I really, really like that one now. The classical piano element of it really appeals. If I'm going to be pushed for it, I actually really like the Kundalini Army. I think that's going to be my number 3. It's between Mick Wilson and Arkine. I'll probably listen to Mick Wilson the most, although I like the Arkine one, so it's tough. They'll have to all have joint 3rd place or something, but Mick Wilson's one's good. That's really tough. I just can't decide. How about you? What do you 2 think?
You want to go next? Or
no, go ahead, Smart Monkey, please.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm in a very similar dilemma, and I've had to be a bit ruthless here. And what I probably felt was more listenable on a repetitive basis. So basically, it was between Mick Wilson and Arkine on my 3rd, and I said it earlier on. The one thing that I didn't quite like about Arkine was that it was a little bit monotonous for me. Beautiful track, beautifully polished, really, really strong, but it just didn't have quite enough variety in it for me. Now, Mick Wilson, his song's not as polished, but what I liked about his song was it was a proper song. It just had everything about it, and just with that little bit of polish, go into the studio or whatever and finish it off, you got a really beautiful song. So that's why that one's going to be third for me. My 2nd is Ajoopaan. I really enjoyed the combination of the elements that went into that song. I thought it was very clever, actually. I think that actually all of those world instruments were beautifully played and beautifully mastered and produced into the mix. And then with that undertone of electronic elements to it as well, they've pulled off something that is very clever and very listenable. And I would go back and listen to that easily over again. Which means that for me, Yiannizs and Wildfire is number 1. It was just a beautiful track, beautifully produced, and just a fantastic song. So that's my number 1.
Oh man, it's difficult because we hear so much good music. We really hear so much good music,
Mm.
you know, and it's so difficult to pick three or four front runners, you know. So what I have is I have as my number 4, I have my Sonic Zone. Number 3, Arkine. Number 2, Kevn. Number 1, Mick Wilson. And that's kind of like as we are here today. But in an alternate universe or an alternate dimension, I definitely have Ajoopaan, DeFi Rock, DJ Nugbone, and Yiannizs. Yiannizs would take my number 1 in an alternate dimension. So I gotta say, really, I mean, it's a really tough call for the number 1 spot for me at least, between Yiannizs, whichever way you want to pronounce it, and Mick Wilson, because both the songs were absolutely fantastic. They kind of both had the same kind of vibe, you know, with the piano, but the song structure was super solid. Like, there's no doubt about that. The song structure was phenomenal.
Yeah, very much so, with the classical movements in that Yiannizs one and Mick Wilson's one. The chords were lovely. So I think if I really was push come to shove, I actually think I'd probably listen to either Ajoopaan or Kundalini Army, but probably Kundalini Army I'll listen to more, although Ajoopaan's probably got the more interesting elements going on. But for the sheer fun of it and imagining animals singing, I think Kundalini Army with by Prime Rock Band. Mick Wilson, my number 2, because I think I would listen to that more. And then Yiannizs was, I think for me a clear winner, because just had the edge on everyone tonight.
Listen, with Ajoopaan and Sonic Zone alike, I mean, you know, if we're going to put them in the same realm of Vitamin Dream and Rem Rem, like, those songs are going to fit perfectly on that playlist, right? So the whole thing is that this is why it's becoming so much more difficult to choose, like, which one's a good song, is because, Carl, you do a really good job in picking all this stuff out, and you know, and Sonic Zone happened to be the Purple Bowl Destiny choice today, but I mean, you know, the Purple Bowl Destiny has not been really letting us down lately. I think the last episode or the episode before last, it was kind of it was a bit iffy, but I got to think that, again, you know, we're kind of like on the right track. We're kind of like, Kevn's not to be dismissed with Rock Your Body. That's for sure.
That's true. That was
not for the number 1 spot, but I mean for the top 3. Yeah, I'm just having a real tough time with this. But I'm gonna have to say that my front runners for the number 1 spot are going to be Yiannizs, and Mick Wilson. I think that those are going to be my front runners for the top spot. All the songs were very much enjoyable, but I got to think that they're either a tie or one of them definitely has a bit more merits than the other. I at this point right now doing the show, I just don't know which one. I like both of them equally at this point, so it's very hard to tell. Very hard to tell.
Interesting. Wonder what the audience. Well, we should always ask the audience to say, please do, when you're watching this, please do tell us your favourites, your top 3, your favourite song of the night, and you know, tell us why you liked them as well, because the artists love to hear from you as well. It's lovely as an artist. It's lovely getting feedback from people. You know, not just getting people to listen to music, which is a struggle enough, but actually getting people to listen and comment on your music is a real pleasure, and it makes it all worthwhile. So we would encourage people to do that.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I thought you were going to say more than what you did, because it definitely.
Well, no, I was.
Oh my God! You didn't have to scream. Man.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, because the other day I was just going through some of our past artists that we had listened to, and I was a bit shocked actually about how many listens and how many followers some of these have on things like Spotify, and it just absolutely I can't believe that, you know, we've heard some really good talent, and yet if you were to look at those stats, you would be like, really, you know, five listens or something like that. You're like, this is crazy. It's yeah. No, I'm gonna have to read that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to read that. Keep talking, because Carlos wants a wee.
Carlos must. Party.
I'm not gonna hide the fact that he's just told me to keep talking because he wants a wee. But anyway, I'll keep talking because Carlos has gone for a wee. But yeah, I'm quite.
What do you guys have your own group message going on? How come I don't know that he's?
You were looking down there, and he put up a piece of paper saying, "Keep talking. I'm going for a wee." What we should do now is just end the show like the last time. Come back and we'll
This has been the Underground Sound. Thank you for joining us for episode 30.
Every time Carl goes for a wee, that's the end of the show. Yeah, but I'm just absolutely surprised how many of these artists just aren't getting heard, and it just goes to show that these algorithms, and you know, the only way that sometimes you're going to get heard is to have big money thrown at it, and basically bribe the algorithms into finding you, because these artists that we've been listening to are phenomenal and deserve to be heard by a lot more people. And actually on that, because of this show, there was a colleague that I know of who has heard some of the tracks now and has been surprised by the fact that, you know, this quality music is out there and they haven't heard it. Was it, I want to say Cara, was it, which one was the one that we had that rated that song with all the fire earlier on? Is it Cara?
Earlier on today or earlier?
Yeah. We talked about it. We've reviewed her tracks, and then she's very prolific on slaps at reviewing. We can't hear you, Carl. You're muted still.
Maya.
That's
Maya.
it, Maya.
So let me just real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you or anything like that, right? But the last song that we just listened to, let me show you something. Can you believe that?
Can't read it.
0 followers.
3 posts, no followers, no following.
Yeah.
What's that on YouTube?
No, this is
Instagram.
Can you believe that? The last song we listened to, DeFi Rock Band.
Yeah,
Let's
count
count followers tonight.
And the whole thing is, this is the big problem with social media. Is I truly believe that the record companies have a stranglehold on everything, and they just won't allow the underground artists to break through. So it's just sad. That song, that band. Let's forget about the song. But that band, if they're as quirky as they are, like, you know, in normality and everything like that, like in everyday life, then that song, the one that we listened to, was posted 21 days ago. I gotta say that honestly, you got to have at least 21 followers. You got to have, you know, a follower per day, honestly. But this is the thing: is like Facebook and Instagram. This is all just fucking crap. For as much crap as YT is, then, you know, we're still doing pretty well, I think. Right now we're 1.33 thousand. So,
you know what? If that band were playing in a club or a bar, do you think one person would stand up and dance on the dance floor? Of course not. You would have a dance floor full of people leaping around, pogoing about, and enjoying that music. You know, that's how bad these algorithms are. It says that 1 or 2 people would stand up and listen to this artist is what it's almost representing, which is a load of crap. If these were to play in a bar, they'd have the floor full and people leaping around and jumping about and enjoying themselves. But, you know, you just don't get to hear them on social media. It's just a rubbish way of representing people, and Yeah, unless you're on there every single
Yeah.
day and you're promoting yourself every hour of the day, which most artists don't have that time. You know, it's not gonna happen.
I've tried and I've tried and I've tried again. I mean, I've posted the Fandango's faves. I've been doing the album artwork. I've been doing, I was even thinking about having the phone kind of like set up right here and having a live stream going without the music being heard, so that we wouldn't hit any copyright issues and everything like that. Maybe some kind of following, but once again, you guys know my stance on social media is pretty much, with Instagram and Facebook, it's kind of like, F you. And I really don't care. And if YouTube bans us, I really don't care either, because Spotify has just come up with this thing where you can actually upload videos onto their thing. So I'm looking more into that as being a little bit more sustainable. Not bashing anything here, because I do love our fans and our subscribers that have subscribed and are listening to us. Our 1.33 now thousand subscribers on YouTube. We do appreciate you all, because once again, we're trying to get this good music out there. We really are, and it's a difficult task. It's a difficult task because sometimes a song will be okay on YouTube, but it won't be okay on Instagram, and so that makes it that much more of a challenge to really kind of like get the things together, because even if we don't get a copyright strike on YouTube, we may get a copyright strike on Instagram, for example, and Reels and everything like that, and they'll say like, yeah, your fucking video is only going to be shown in fucking Uzbekistan or something like that. You know what I mean? No, seriously, I'm being serious about that, because I did get like a notice like it's only going to be shown here, So it's banned everywhere else, but it will only be shown here because they have no copyright restrictions and everything like that, which is just very sad. It's not sad for the show. It's sad, and it's very disheartening for the artists that are actually making this music, because we're not doing a show which is bashing or praising. We are doing a show which is critique and what we like and what we think, and you can hate us or love us for it, whatever the case may be. We're all in our 40s and 50s, and so if you hate us, we could really care less. If you love us, then we thank you for loving us. But the whole thing is that we don't have time to worry about the people that want to try to cancel us or that actually hate us. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, all of our shows have literally had 100% likes. So I don't think that that's anything to be kind of like laughed at, because the whole thing is, I think that people get that we're having fun, that we're listening to music, and that when they hit that like button, they truly mean it. So we've been there. We've been at 100% likes, except for the Russ Palladino show for whatever reason. That one got like 2 dislikes, so it changed it from like 100% to like 87.9% or something like that, right? I don't know if it was just Russ. Russ knows the guy. I'm sure that we can find it out, right? But folks, once again, nothing that we say here is meant to be destructive at all. Not at all.
No, and what I was saying is that I know for a fact that because of our show, new people have been introduced to artists like Maya. There's a colleague that I have at work who was like listening to our show and said, well, she's got a beautiful voice. I never knew she was out there, and I'm following her now, and I love her music. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what this is all about.
We can introduce stalkers to artists and all sorts of but no, it's about I'm wearing the pin tonight. I probably can't even see it, but I love music, and if it comes with and this is exactly why we're all doing it. We love making music, we love listening to music, we like finding new artists, we want to support independent artists and promote them and help them where we can, and find new music, because a lot of these ones, my favorites, I'll always acquire on iTunes, so they actually get paid for those songs that I acquire. I still old-fashioned, I still use what was iTunes, and pay for the music, so because the artist should be paid. But just getting their music out there for people to hear is why we do this. Because we really are passionate. We care for fellow artists. We know how hard it is, what a struggle it is, and it's really good to have somebody out there on your side, just cheerleading for you, and just even if we're critiquing the music, not in a negative way, but in a constructive way, it's still cheerleading and playing the music so that people can hear it. We haven't got lots and lots of followers on our community and subscribers, but there's quite a few building. It's building gradually, but it's 1,330 people more than you had yesterday potentially in your audience. So that's the whole point. We're just trying to help and do our bit and enjoying ourselves at the same time and enjoying your music. And also it's such a great place to discover new music, because I'll always choose a variety of tracks, and the Purple Bowl will always choose something random for you as well. So it's a good place to come for music.
Purple Bowl of Destiny, always throwing that wrench into, or that monkey wrench into the engine, as they say. Sorry, monkey knows.
Yeah, that's okay. You can borrow my wrenches. I don't mind.
I'm not making fun of you at all. For the Underground Set, episode 30, this 17th day of March in the year 2023. I am DJ Exec. With me, as always, is Carlos Fandango and a gentleman known as Smart Monkey. Together, we are putting the us back in music.
So please do like, subscribe, and share, and we'll find the music that you love to hear.
And don't forget to push that little bell so that you get the notifications of any new videos from the Underground Sound that Tom uploads for you.
I'm surprised we got that right on the last thing. And once again, thank you to our show sponsor, Nathan Bashir of Monsters Are Real. Please head on down into the video description below. Find the links for Monsters Are Real music.com. Find the links to our website, usundergroundsound.com. Find the link to Smart Monkey, Carlos Fandango, myself. My link is my email. So if you'd like to contact me directly, then you can do this show through my email. And there will be a full show roster of every song that was played here today. So you will have those links there. And please check out our previous shows. I'm pretty sure that you're going to like them if you like this one, because we've had some funny ones and we've had some serious ones, and there's the back and forth with everything. But we do thank you for tuning in today. So for today, once again, March 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day of the year 2023. I'm DJ Exec saying toodaloo.
Top of the evening to you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.